Hi, my name's Kelly. I am an assistant professor here at Franciscan Missionaries of Our Lady University's Doctor of Physical Therapy program. I teach the neurologic content predominantly. I've been working for FranU since about 2017. Before that, I was a PT, 18 years in the clinic. But in my first couple of years working for this institution, I oversaw some coursework that was called Physical Therapy Seminar. And within that coursework lies our service learning component. And I'll be honest with you, in the beginning, I was concerned that it would add a load to our physical therapy students. PT school is pretty hard right off the bat. And I was worried it was just going to be another checkbox for them. But I have found in watching the evolution of how we've become involved and even more involved in service, how it really has had a positive impact on our students. It is a requirement. We'll talk about that in a minute. But first, let's talk about our mission. So our mission, or this is our program mission statement, right? And I love to highlight and bold things that are important. So I do want to point out here at FranU, yes, we're trying to train excellent physical therapists who are going to be great clinicians, but we're also working to build people who are ethical servant leaders and who in turn will turn around and give back not only to their profession by professional involvement, but then also to the community for those most in need. Okay, so I get a little overloaded with the picture. I get a little carried away sometimes. I might have a few too many photos in this PowerPoint, but I like it because it highlights our students, and they are our strongest asset. And they have just really embraced this whole service learning component. I cannot speak highly enough about them. So why Franciscan? Ethical servant leaders, contributors to the community. That's what we're trying to build. Okay, so what is service learning? So this is just basically just a quote, right? As a definition on what service learning actually is. I don't think I really understood what it was when I first came on board. I thought it was, okay, you're just going to go out and do some service. No. It's giving back to the community in an organized way. So you participate in some type of service, but then you turn around and you reflect on it, right? How was it meaningful to you? What would be further action? What would you change? We'll talk about some of the questions that our students reflect on after they participate in service learning. And sometimes, I think at the beginning of the semester, it seems like a little bit of busy work, but it's not. It's actually a component of service learning to evolve, that reflection component. We're hoping that when we teach individuals to reflect not only in their service learning, but in their clinical components, that this will become a lifelong habit. And this is just another way to get that reflection to occur. Okay, so just a little bit about service learning at FranU. So service, it's a big deal, right? Like I'm telling you, it's a hallmark of our program. Dr. Rhoda Reddix has really overseen this whole program. It's just fantastic. I can't tell you how much I love it. So our entire university has a really strong commitment to service. It's one of our core values. And in 2009, they made service learning a requirement for graduation, right? 2017, when we came on board, there was a new initiative to try and launch it within the graduate programs. And that was right when I kind of came on board. And it was the year before we started taking on students, before we received candidacy. So it was something that I was like, okay, let me see how I can build this into our program, build this into what it is that we're doing, and actually have it serve the students that are going to be coming to our program. So who we serve, right? Okay, look how cute they are. This is such a fantastic photo of some of our graduates. These are our 2022 graduates. Who we serve. So when we're targeting individuals for service learning, we're looking at underserved youth, we're looking at older adults, children and adults with disabilities, and homeless or medically underserved populations. So if you think about it, a lot of these individuals are people that as physical therapists, we turn around and see down the road. So it's right in line, right? In terms of student learning, our students are encouraged to understand the social issues or the social justice issues that are associated with poverty and how that impacts all these vulnerable populations. So again, there's some reflection there. Take a step back, understand that some of these individuals are coming from an environment that we have not been exposed to. And now this gives us an opportunity to do something about it, right? How do you become change agents? You expose yourself to those populations and try to see what you can do to help. And that's what we're trying to create here. It also teaches an awareness of, okay, there are problems outside of these walls, right? I think that some of us have lived a really good life. I am one of those people. And sometimes we're not privy to the social problems that are around us. This is a way for us to put our students in that path to see the world beyond their own walls. Okay, so when you think about core values, right? Okay, so let me move this around. Core values, you got the core values of our institution, right? Service, reverence, and love for all life. Joyfulness of spirit, that's my favorite. Humility, I got to work on that one. Justice, and they all seem to kind of match up with what we've got for the American Physical Therapy Association. Now, look, once again, I've got things that are bolded, right? So we've got service on this side, and it lines up with altruism and social responsibility from the American Physical Therapy Association core values. So there's a lot of kind of overlap there, right? Now, okay, there's a lot on this slide. I'm really sorry. So the very first service learning that we ever did was with McMains Children's Developmental Center. Now they have this fantastic event called Wheels to Succeed, and there's multiple layers to it, right? But just a little bit about McMains. So each one of these, I'm going to try to plug the institution that we help with. They see children birth to 18, years of age with any type of moderate or severe disabilities or delay. 70% of the kids that go to their institution, it's an outpatient clinic, are on Medicaid, and they have multiple conditions that require a lot of therapy. So Wheels to Succeed is a fundraising event where they raise money to purchase these really kind of high-end little bikes for individuals that are adapted who have some type of disability, right? So these fundraisers help to raise money to alleviate the financial burden of the purchase of the bike, which the bike in turn provides participation opportunities for kids and exercise opportunities for kids. So this is our very first time we ever did service learning. This is with the 2021 cohort, right? So basically it's like a race, right? And you have all these little kids that are out there and they're doing a little race. There's a ton of trophies and, people win, first place, second place, third place. It's just a really fantastic event. And, you get nervous, right? Like you're telling your students, okay, this is what we're going to do. And you're not sure how people are going to react in that situation. But I found that this group of students and all of our students have just really embraced the moment. And we just had a great time. It was a really great day. And we were very fortunate that they allowed us to volunteer for that. So this is one of our very first service learning opportunities. Again, children with disabilities, underserved populations, totally hits that target. Okay, so here's one of our other first ones, right? First semester. This isn't, if you've not heard of what ALS is, it's amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. And Our Lady of the Lake, there's a physicians group. Our students are finally back in with this group. We had to stop during COVID. But basically what it is it's a clinic that caters to people with ALS. And all of these different types of healthcare professionals are at this facility. It's one event. There's a couple of times during a month whenever they meet. And our students acted as concierge for these individuals going through all these different stations. So number one, it gave the individual someone to kind of talk to, someone to help them get from point A to point B. And a lot of times the individuals that were working with our students, the actual patients, really educated our students about ALS. It's been one of the most widely, highly reviewed service learning activities that we've had. Just fantastic. We were very fortunate to get on board pretty early on. So it exposed our students to a certain type of neurologic diagnosis, but it also exposed our students to a lot of these different type of healthcare professionals, right? And how those individuals work together. So it wasn't just about the service, it was actually about exposing them to areas of physical therapy, that the component that you would find down the road in your workplace. So it just really good. I'm really glad we're back on board with those individuals. Okay, here comes another one. So GaitWay, right? Okay, do I have enough photos? I'm really big on the photos because they're, like I said, they're our students. They're our kids. So if you've not heard of GaitWay Therapeutic Horsemanship, I highly recommend that you look them up and consider donating money to any of these organizations that I will talk about today. They serve children, adults with CP, autism, developmental delays, traumatic head injuries. And basically what they do is they work on therapeutic writing, and they work with other therapies to try and get the client stronger and help them just interact, right? And it's really amazing to see when you see some of these kids who are kind of nonverbal and not really interacting with the world. Once they get on this horse, things just really change, right? So what our students do when our students go to volunteer, which is fantastic, they help clean up stalls, they help take care of the horses. Sometimes they participate in the therapeutic riding sessions. So just a really well-rounded activity for our students to do. We've actually donated money, had fundraisers for this group. So again, just great way. Outdoors, moving, related to physical therapy. And a population that a lot of people probably, even that ALS clinic, a lot of the things that we were targeting in the beginning were, you think about physical therapy students, right? A lot of times they come from, an outpatient orthopedic background, and that's where their, clinic experience comes from. And they don't really have exposure to these different types of diagnoses. So not only are we doing the service component, we're exposing them to a lot of other areas of physical therapy that they may not have had prior experience with. So it's cool. I like it. Oh Lord, here we go. Okay. So this is a real good one. Every time I get to one, I'll be like, oh my gosh, this is the best one. They're all the best. Cajun Classic. If you have not been to this tournament, you need to go. It is a wheelchair tennis tournament, right? And a lot of the top wheelchair tennis players in the world attend this, right? As you can see, it's an ITF Super Series USTA. It's a US Tennis Association. It's a national level 1 event. That means it's a big deal. So yeah, so our students have participated in this multiple times. They act as ball people and they assist players throughout the day. So it's usually in beautiful weather. They get to, they get to do some physical activity and really help see, this is what I love because I work in neuro. They get to see how capable people can be from a wheelchair level. And I just think that that's invaluable experience. Not only are they giving back, but they're seeing what so many people are capable of so much more than sometimes people give them credit for. So just a fantastic event. And of course, more photos, right? It's photos of our students. It's been great. Like we've really they have training that they have to do ahead of time so they can make sure they do things right. Cause these are serious ball players. I mean, think about John McEnroe. I mean, that's beyond y'all's time, but anyway, it's a big deal. Okay. Breck, right? So Breck has this whole adaptive recreation program, right? So our kids were able to volunteer on Saturday mornings and sometimes Sunday mornings where they would do adaptive sports. Basketball was one of them. Canoeing was one of them, right? Kids of all levels. Just really fantastic. As you can see, these three of all of these students that are in these photos were very interested in pediatrics. And this was one of the things that really kind of solidified that for them while they were in school too. They knew they wanted to do it ahead of time, but this was like, oh yeah, a little bit more of a check. This is what I want to do. Okay, Boys and Girls Club. So this has been a new addition. Now this was I hate to use this word, but this was a pivot. Okay. So we ended up working with this group when, COVID hit. We were, there was a push to just shut service learning down. But once things this transitioned over to either Dr. Cantor when she came on board, and she was able to figure out a way that our students could virtually participate in service learning for kids. So they would do educational components about different parts of the body. They would run exercise groups. Like they just did a ton of stuff. Like, so even in the midst of a pandemic, we were able to figure out a way for our students to give back. And it was just, it was fantastic. It was a great thing. This is what I love, right? So our students either created like educational videos, right? Or they did these great exercise videos. Okay. So they made these workouts. And what they did is like a whole team, they had groups within I think it's like 5 or 6 groups. And within that group, they each had like 5 or 6 students, right? So then they all coordinated together. Okay, group 1, you're going to go on this week. We're going to focus on this. Group 2, we're going to go on this week. We're going to focus on this. So not only was it, okay, we have to create an entire workout plan for these individuals, for these kids, we also have to coordinate within our group and coordinate with the larger group. They made these videos. It's on FranU DPT on YouTube. If you'd like to take a look, it's actually precious. It's fantastic. They really did a great job. I cannot speak highly enough. 2022, that cohort, those were the champions of this, right? They did a great job. Okay, St. Lillian, this is a new one, right? New to the scene. This has been in the last couple of years. We've started to participate with these individuals. Our students got the ability. So this organization, it's a full-time school, and it helps educate children who have communication and learning challenges, right? So think about it. If you've got a communication or some type of learning challenge, exercise sometimes, or guided exercise, can maybe be a little bit difficult. So what our students did was they assisted in PE classes, rotating throughout. It was like a 20 to 30-minute exercise class where they taught like a team sport. So they focused on different types of things like basketball, bowling, kickball, soccer, horseshoes, even cornhole, right? So again, working with an with a not, I don't want to say disadvantage, but someone who's got some kind of communication problem or learning disorder in a physical kind of way. So just fantastic work. Our students have just done a great job. Habitat for Humanity, sure, you probably heard of it, right? Yeah, so they build these houses for the underserved community. I've done some of these. This is really nice. You get out and you just build stuff, right? I'll be honest with you, PT school is kind of stressful and it's a little rough. So sometimes it feels good to hit a nail and a hammer and cut through some wood, right? So we feel like not only were they giving back to the community, they were able to physically move, right? And do something that's a little productive and not just be around studying all the time. So Habitat for Humanity is a big one. Okay, so now let's talk about, so that's the service component. Now there's a reflection component. Now I'm not going to read all these questions to you, but I just want you to know that there is a reflection component, and these are some of the guided questions that our students do answer. They can pick any number of them. Sometimes they're assigned certain ones, but this helps them connect. Okay, here's the service. Here's what I learned from it. More pictures. Sorry. So these are some of our students. So these are some of now I'm gonna be honest with you, some of these are a little rogue here. So we've got students that actually volunteered at the APTA combined sections meeting, right, to be student helpers. We have students down here who have also volunteered. That's Alvin. It's a smaller photo, but it's the smallest photo. Some of our students actually volunteer to help us here at school with some of our events. Like we'll have open houses, or we'll have, information sessions where our students come and lead discussions, right? And I just can't even begin to tell you how much of a help that is. So they're giving back to their profession as well. We also had some students after Hurricane Ida who went down and did some cleanup around the area, which was just fantastic. And I believe that was something they may have organized that on their own. So, just great kids. Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank. This is another organization that we work with. So just a shout out to all those organizations that our students have worked with. They really touched a lot of people. This is a quote from one of our students that, she submitted in regards to, I asked for a couple of quotes, and this was a great one that was submitted. I think it really speaks volumes. It helps to prepare you for your life that's, not behind your desk. So I just thought that was really fantastic. And I appreciate her submitting that, Susanna. Oh, more photos, right? A little overkill. I'm sorry. But why Franciscan, right? We are not just teaching you to be a physical therapist. We're teaching you, or hoping that we're trying to guide you towards being an ethical servant leader, and contributors to the community. These are things that we're trying to get people to give back, right? So why Franciscan? Support, strength, service. This was at DPT Olympics. Super fun event, right? Look at all these students. They're all yelling in support of this little tug of war team, which I think they might have lost, but it's okay. In life, they won. And that's all I have for you. That's the end of our service learning component. We've got other videos out there if you haven't seen them. There's one program overview. There's tips to application. There's also one about electives. So please take the time to, take a look and come on down. We're doing some student-led information sessions. So whenever you have a chance, see if you can sign up online, and we'd love to have you. All right. Thank you.